It's Avatar Aang versus Avatar Korra. I'm ending this debate today, once and for all. And the answer might surprise you. It surprised me. Let me explain. If you're new here, we do plenty of Avatar videos, including episode reviews, theory, and character analysis. So, if you like those things, subscribe so you don't miss out. Today's video will settle the long-fought debate once and for all on who would win in a fight between Aang and Korra. I'll be looking at the powers and abilities of each from their two respective series, and also the creator thoughts, being as objective as possible because, well, I am the objective geek. By the end of this video, you should be convinced of my conclusions, or not. Feel free to disagree, it won't hurt my feelings at all, and let me know who you think would win, and if maybe I change your mind either way. But to be thorough, I have to break this fight down into 3 different fight scenarios. One where the Avatar state cannot be used, a second where Korra still has a link to all of her past lives, and a third where Korra has lost the connection to her past lives. In all these fights, it will be Aang to the current point in the comics, and Korra wherever it fits. Scenario number 1, no Avatar state. First, let's compare the ability to bend the 4 elements for each Avatar. Fire. Firebending is the element Aang probably was the least adept at. He was hesitant to firebend due to its destructive nature, but he would learn the real meaning of firebending from the masters Rin and Cha. That being said, he was far from a master by the end of the series, and it's not confirmed that he mastered it in the comics. Korra mastered firebending by the age of 17. She relies on the element heavily throughout the series. Between the two, Korra is without a doubt the better firebender. Air. When the series started, Aang at the age of 12 was already an airbending master, having invented the technique of the air scooter. That being said, I do think his airbending became much stronger as the series went by. As for Korra, she was so spiritually weak at the beginning of the series that she couldn't airbend. After she was able to airbend though, she would use the element to great effect, using it far more offensively than defensively. And Korra was trained by none other than Aang's son, Tenzin. The question of who's the better airbender though is easy. It's without a doubt Aang. Water. When it comes to waterbending, Aang picked up the element quite well. He was trained by Master Pakku and later Master Katara. I would gather by the end of the series, he was at least very close to being a waterbending master. Being that Korra comes from the Southern Water Tribe, she is naturally gifted at waterbending. She was also taught by Master Katara. Unlike Aang, Korra has the healing abilities, so she's a master of this element as well. Earth. Earthbending was tough for Aang to do at first, but after a while it became a common element that he would use often. In his training with Toph and his fight with Ozai, he displayed his ability to use seismic sense. Like water and fire, Korra mastered earthbending by the age of 17. She learned metal bending from Suyin Beifong, the daughter of Toph. The choice of who the better earthbender is was much harder than I thought. Korra is confirmed to have mastered the element of earth, and she is a very good metal bender. Though Toph said that Aang could use more practice to master, he still displayed some great earthbending, and he also knew seismic sense. At a minimum, it is a draw, but since I have to choose who the better earthbender is, it's Korra, mostly due to her aggressive nature in which she bends the element, and her ability to metal bend. Now looking at their fighting styles. Aang being born an airbender and mastering the element so early, he tends to favor airbending tactics, often circling his opponents using Bagua and evading his opponents, usually looking to cause the least amount of damage and simply knock out an opponent. Korra's fighting style is very aggressive, never focusing on evading attacks, but instead fighting her way through them. She aims to finish opponents with no regard for their health. It's also important to note that Korra is a great hand-to-hand fighter and is physically very strong. So this fight would be most interesting. Aang would be very evasive but still attacking Korra with less powerful attacks than she would. Korra would be headstrong and leap right into battle, fighting her way through Aang's attacks. But while Aang is hard to pin down, it's not impossible. He has been bested by opponents less quick than him before, and Korra would be able to do the same. Korra has the advantage bending-wise, seeing how she is arguably better at bending 3 of the 4, at least 2 of the elements than Aang, and she's able to use them efficiently in an offensive manner. Korra would definitely take a few blows, pun intended, from Aang, but she would be able to take them, but once she laid a solid hit on Aang, it would be much harder for him to bounce back. In the Q&A, when asked who to win in a fight, the creators had some thoughts.
I think you are always your own worst enemy. So in a way, they would always like defeat each other, or it would just be like the worst stalemate, you know, something like that. But that could be like,
yeah, I feel like they wouldn't. I mean, they would talk it out.
They work it out.
Yeah.
I think it's like, you know, I watch a lot of fighting, and it's like they'll say like, you know, 9 times out of 10 I'll beat that person, but there's always that one, and I feel like 9 times out of 10 Aang would just get away. And there's always that one time Korra like gets a hold of his like cowl and then just beats the crap out of him.
So there you have it. If the creators had to choose who to win in a fight between Aang and Korra, they would choose Korra. And who knows the world of Avatar better than them? You can watch the whole Q&A video in the link in the description below. So Korra wins the scenario of the no Avatar state. On to the next one. Aang versus Korra with past lives using the Avatar state. So this would be Korra right before her fight with Unavatu. First, let's define what the Avatar state encompasses. As Roku tells Aang, the Avatar state is a defense mechanism designed to empower you with the skills and knowledge of all the past avatars. The glow is the combination of all your past lives, focusing their energy through your body. In the Avatar state, you are at your most powerful. So in a matchup between Korra and Aang with using the Avatar state, it's clear who the winner is. It's Korra. By this definition, the next Avatar is inherently always stronger than the previous one using the Avatar state, because they would have the skills, knowledge, and energy of all previous avatars, including the one they are theoretically fighting. Now I know the argument for Aang winning in this scenario very well. People say when Aang goes into the Avatar state, it's way more powerful and epic than Korra's. And I fairly agree with that. If this was a competition of which avatar had the greatest displays of power in the Avatar state, Aang would win. But it's very important to note in most of those times, Aang is not in control of the Avatar state. Also, the thing about the Avatar state is that when it's controlled, it only uses the right amount of energy needed for the task. It does this to not risk the Avatar dying in the Avatar state. The Avatar state that Korra uses in this scenario is the exact same one that Aang would use, but add one more lifetime of skills, experience, and energy. So, Korra is the winner.
You cannot win.
Scenario 3. Aang vs Korra with link to the past lives severed. In this scenario, both avatars can use the Avatar state, but Korra is handicapped, seeing as she does not have her previous past lives to gain energy from. So there you have it, Aang wins. But wait a minute, maybe he doesn't. Just follow me here for a sec. The Avatar state is, without a doubt, the culmination of all the avatars' past lives, but there's also more to it. The Avatar state is also the manifestation of Rava the Light Spirit. We see both Korra and Wan use the Avatar state to great effect when each had no past lives to gain power from. We also see in Book 3 of Avatar The Last Airbender that Aang still has a connection to his past lives and he can speak to them, but he can't enter the Avatar state. It is admittedly difficult to quantify just what portion of the Avatar state is due to Rava and what part is due to the past lives, but we can conclude past lives are not necessary for the Avatar state to be all-powerful and provide a power boost for the Avatar. But you might say, so what? Rava is in Korra. She was also in Aang. The thing is, there's a literal big difference between the two. When Rava permanently fused with Wan, she was this very tiny small spirit, while Vaatu grew to be a giant. Their relative power levels are like two sides of a seesaw. When one is small, the other is huge, and vice versa and in between. When Unavatu ripped Rava from Korra and killed her, he transformed into a giant dark avatar. Korra then bent the energy within herself and astral projected to a giant and destroyed him. And when Korra reunites with Rava, she is Big Rava again, the absolute biggest and most powerful she could ever be. In comparison, when Rava is inside of Aang, she is significantly smaller. Korra, having a deep connection to Rava, can tap into the vast amount of energy Rava provides that can rival the power she held when she defeated Unavatu, or even greater. Like, just imagine a massive light avatar version of Unavatu. I find it hard to believe that Aang, even with all of his past lives and the Avatar state, could beat Korra, who is fused with a fully powered Rava. So, Korra wins this scenario as well. But besides the result of this fight, there is a very interesting takeaway from it. Because Vaatu would start to grow again inside of Rava, Rava's power would start to slowly lessen. So, theoretically speaking, Korra is the strongest light avatar there ever was, and the strongest light avatar there ever will be. Emphasis on light. I know for many of you, Korra winning even one of these scenarios is highly far-fetched, but I think it makes perfect sense on many reasons, and especially story-wise. Korra's journey is one of starting off as a young, rambunctious avatar who wanted to prove herself to the world, who was physically and naturally talented, and she was always looking for a fight to prove herself. And she grew into a woman who didn't punch first, but instead reached out a hand, a woman who would sacrifice her own self for her enemy. She grew into a really great avatar, just like Aang. Pretty sure that's not the answer that a lot of you had. Please don't dislike the video just because of that, but comment below. Alright, did I convince you? Who do you think will win? Honestly, I don't mind disagreements, I just love the discussion. Or let me know what your favorite Avatar State moment is. Mine would definitely be Aang versus the Sandbenders. That moment is just so perfect in so many different ways. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And sincerely, thank you for watching. I'm out.